Hey everyone, welcome back to Endless Money Pits. This is my 2016 Honda CBR500R, and today I'll take you through a 4,000 mile inspection. We'll take a look at the chain, brakes, clutch, and the crankcase breather hose so you can get a better idea of the condition your bike is in. This is the first video in a series that will cover all the inspection items for your Honda 500R, 500F, or 500X, so make sure to come back for your 8,000 and 16,000 mile inspections. Here are the tools that I used for this job. Torque wrench, 14mm wrench, 12mm wrench, 10mm ratcheting wrench, 8mm hex, 5mm hex, needle nose pliers, bent nose pliers, a cable luber, and a measuring tape. For this job I also needed a set of stands, chain lube, gloves, and a Q-tip. There are links in the description for everything I used. I'll start by putting the bike on stands to keep it level for checking fluids. The crankcase breather hose is on the upper left side of the engine. First, slide the hose clamp back, then pull the cap off and drain any fluid or debris you find inside. After 16,000 miles, I haven't found anything inside yet, but it's easy enough to check. You'll need to lift up the fuel tank to inspect the breather hose for damage, deterioration, and loose connections. That process is a little long to include in this video, but I've already made a separate video on how to do that, so check for a link in the description. The service manual says to check the breather hose more often when the bike is ridden in the rain, at full throttle, or if the motorcycle is washed or overturned. Next, we'll take a look at the chain. I only removed the chain cover so you could see everything better. If you want to remove it, you have to remove the foot peg with an 8mm hex first. The factory chain cover is held on with two 5mm screws. We'll start off by taking a quick look at the chain, checking for binding links. Binding links can cause tight spots in the chain and usually indicate that dirt has gotten inside the sealed portion of the link, in which case the chain and sprockets would need to be replaced. Always replace the chain and sprockets as a set, or things will wear out much faster. You might have noticed that my chain has a removable master link, which is not recommended on bikes 500cc and up because the link could come apart at high speeds. I installed the chain before I knew this, so it's something I'll need to take care of. Now we'll measure the current amount of slack in the lower portion of the chain halfway between the front and rear sprockets. The camera angle makes things look a little different, but from my perspective, the bottom of the chain is moving between the 1 inch mark and the 2 3/4 inch mark for a total movement of 1.75 inches. The amount of movement should be between 1.4 and 1.8 inches, so this is the perfect time to adjust it. I covered how to do that in a separate video, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. Now take a look at the chain wear indicator. When it's in the red, it's time to replace the chain and sprockets, but it looks like my chain has a lot of life left. Next, we'll inspect the sprockets, which requires removing the front sprocket cover. To remove the front sprocket cover, we'll have to disconnect the shifter linkage first. Use a paint marker to mark the orientation of the linkage before disconnecting it with a 10mm wrench. The bolt has to be removed completely. Move it out of the way and use a set of bent nose pliers to squeeze and push this plastic band clip through from behind. A 5mm hex will remove the two screws. One more band clip to remove and it's free. Don't forget to clean the inside of the cover before you put it back on. Pull the chain guide off and clean it too. It's also a good idea to clean the chain while you have everything exposed. Check out my chain cleaning video for the best way to do that. Take a close look at the teeth on both sprockets, checking for wear and damage. Here's what a new front sprocket looks like. Front sprockets wear out faster than rear sprockets, and aluminum wears out faster than steel. If your sprockets have damage or significant visible wear, it's time to replace them along with the chain. You should also take a look at the chain slider that wraps around the front of the swing arm to make sure it's not wearing through. The last part of the inspection is to make sure none of the sprocket fasteners are loose. If they are, retorque the drive sprocket bolt to 40 foot-pounds and the driven sprocket nuts to 80 foot-pounds. When installing the front sprocket cover, position the metal chain guide with this point on the bottom. Reconnect the upper band clip and hold the sprocket cover in position while you install the two 5mm screws. Don't forget the lower band clip. Reattach the shifter linkage, lining it up with the mark you made earlier, and install the 10mm bolt. If you remove the chain cover, reinstall it with a 5mm hex. The foot peg bolt should be torqued to 27 foot-pounds, but I skipped that part. Just make sure it's not going to fall off. Let's move on to the brake inspection. The front brake fluid reservoir has a window in it so you can see the fluid level. The fluid level just needs to be above the line on the right-hand side under the letters LWR. The rear brake fluid reservoir is a translucent box hidden behind the right side passenger foot peg. The fluid level needs to be between the upper and lower lines on the reservoir. Honda recommends replacing the brake fluid every 2 years, and I have a video on how to do that makes it really easy, so look for a link in the description. If the brake fluid looks low, it could be because the brake pads are worn, so we'll take a look at that next. Each brake pad has a small notch on the end. These pads have a lot of life left, but when they're worn down to those notches, it'll be time to replace the pads, and you better believe I'll be making a video on it. You should be able to check the front and rear brake pads without any tools, but you might need a flashlight. Next, we'll take a close look at all the brake hoses, pipes, and fittings, checking for damage, wear, and leaks. Tighten any loose fittings you find, and replace parts as needed. You'll also want to firmly compress the front and rear brakes to make sure they give good feedback. If the brakes feel soft or spongy, there could be air in the lines. Lucky for you, my brake fluid video covers bleeding those lines. While you're testing the brakes, let's make sure the brake light comes on at the right time. It's supposed to turn on just before the brakes engage. The front brake light switch can't be adjusted, so if it's out of sync, then you'll need to replace any malfunctioning parts. The rear brake light switch is adjustable, but you'll need to remove the right side rear set to access it. Hold the switch body and twist this ring to adjust tension on the brake light switch. Raising the switch body will make the light come on sooner, and lowering it will make it come on later. The last thing we'll check today is the clutch system. I'm going to start by lubing the cable, which should be done once a year. Loosen the lock ring and turn the adjuster all the way in to create slack in the cable. Then, line up the slots in the adjuster and the lock ring with the slot in the clutch lever, then pull the cable out and down to free it from the lever. only one side of the cable luber has an opening large enough for the cable housing to fit into. Tighten the cable luber bolts just enough to create a seal, then spray in your favorite cable or chain lube through the small hole in the tool. Slowly spray lube into the tool until it starts coming out from the other end of the cable, and wipe off any excess. If the clutch cable is rusty or starting to fray, it should be replaced immediately. If everything looks okay, slide the cable back up into the lever and then into the slots of the adjuster and the lock ring. When you reset the adjuster screw, the clutch lever should have 10 to 20 millimeters of free play measured at the end. For minor adjustments, just tighten or loosen the cable with the adjustment screw on the clutch lever. Secure the lock ring to hold the adjustment screw in place and recheck the clutch lever free play. If the adjuster screw is all the way out or close to it, and you can't set the free play properly, turn the adjuster screw all the way in, back out one turn, then move to the other end of the cable to adjust the major adjuster. To do this, you would loosen the locking nut and turn the adjuster until proper free play is obtained, then secure the locking nut. Once you're finished with that, grab your helmet and get ready to ride, cause we're done. I've made a lot of videos on these Honda 500s and I've got more on the way, so if you liked this video, make sure to subscribe for more of the best DIY videos on the internet. And until next time, just keep throwing money at it.